Hey everybody, Drew Reynolds here, Director of Student Ministries at Cobb Prairie Community Church in Lenexa, Kansas. I hope that you're all having a wonderful week. I hope you got some time to enjoy the weather outside as it was so nice this week again. As it's starting to get a little colder, I hope you really take the time to enjoy those nice warmer days we have. But let's go ahead and jump in. As you know, we're talking this series called Canceled. We're going over the series about cancel culture and how we shouldn't do cancel culture, how we should do the opposite of it, whatever we're called to do in our Bible. Week one, we talked about how we're supposed to love those who are not like us, those people who are different, that kid that sits at that lunch table by himself, how instead of sitting there and just being like, that kid's weird, but maybe you should go up to them and show them love and show them that you care. Week two, we talked about how we should love those in need. And, you know, we always want to help the people with the big needs, but what we talked about is the small things. When there's a kid in school, drops his books, again, sitting by himself, needs some help, needs the door held open, doing those small things to help those. We should love those people and help them in that way. Last week, we talked about how you should love those people who we envy. Those people we're jealous of, those people that when they do better than us, we stew in this jealousy, that we should get past and we should love them because we should appreciate their success as much as our own. And this week, we're going to finish off our series by talking about how we should love those who we hate or who we want to hate. Now, quick question for you. Just think about this. If you could draft any celebrity to join our youth group, who would it be? A few come to my mind. Jason Momoa. I love Jason Momoa. I think he's great. He's one. Julio Jones, one of my favorite football players. Love to have him. But yeah, just a bunch of people that come to mind. I want you to take a minute and think about that. Now, another thing about celebrities. Can you guys think of any celebrity feuds that are happening right now? I'm going to be honest with you. I can't, other than outside of the presidential election. But I don't really get into that stuff. So take a moment and think about this. Now, but a lot of times we think about those celebrity feuds that are happening. We realize that some of those happen for some of the most ridiculous reasons in the world. They don't make sense. And they end up hating each other because of those things. But today we're not going to talk about the ridiculous side of hating people or why they're hating people, why that's coming up. We're going to look into legit reasoning on why we hate people. But not why we should hate them, but how we should love them even though there's good reasons to hate. And let's be honest, there's no shortage of reasons that are legitimate that we should hate somebody. But here's the thing too. We're called to be better than that. We're called to love those people. Now when we get down to the point of it, when you start to feel these feelings, there's a few things that are so tempting to do. First is you're tempted to love to hate them. Sometimes it's fun. I've been there back when I was in school. It was so easy to hate somebody compared to just be able to push through and just show them compassion and show them love. It's easy to talk poorly about them. Sometimes it makes you feel better, but it's not always the best thing because it makes you feel better, but if they hear it, it makes them feel worse. Another one is to dehumanize them, is just make them seem so much worse and so much than they actually are. Something that they did and turning it into something so bad. The last one is take revenge. Now, I know we all like to take revenge. We all like to get back at those who hurt us, but it's not worth it. And honestly, those things that I just said, it's so much easier to do than it is for us to forgive. As you know, last week we talked about the story of David and Saul. I think this is a great example. Just to recap, David's guy killed Goliath. Saul saw him, was like, hey, this guy's great. I want to raise him up. He's going to be my general in my army. David became friends with his best friend, his Saul's son, Jonathan. They got really close. David started getting praised for all the things that he'd done and recognized. That made Saul jealous, and so Saul said, hey, let's kill this guy. Not the best thing. But I think about it. After Saul decided to try to hunt down David, tried to kill him, tried to take him out, all of that, it would make sense for David to want revenge. I mean, Saul is literally trying to kill him. And that's just the fact of it. It makes sense for David to want revenge. But we're going to look at 1 Samuel 24, 1 through 7. Now I'm going to sum it up. I highly recommend going and reading it. It's a great part of the story. But it shows something. It shows how David, instead of taking revenge, he showed love to Saul. Now, Saul's on his hunt for David. He's going around, but he gets to a point where he's like, hey, I gotta go to the bathroom. Yeah, he's the king, but even the king needs his privacy when he goes to the bathroom. So Saul goes into this cave. Fun fact, this cave, weirdly enough, is the cave that David is hiding in. So Saul's, he's doing his business and going to the bathroom, and David comes up, and he has this great opportunity. If he really wanted to, he could kill Saul right here and right now. But instead of doing that, David did something different. He went up to Saul, cut off a piece of his robe, and then went back into hiding. Saul ends up finishing his business, leaving. David ends up coming out and saying, hey, Saul, I had the opportunity to kill you, and I didn't. Here's the proof. Look at your robe. I have this piece that I've cut off. David decided, instead of attempting to kill Saul or killing Saul because he rightfully could have, he would forgive him. He'd show him love. Now, I can't say David and Saul became best friends, because that's just not the fact of it. But because David did what he did, he showed love instead of killing Saul, instead of taking revenge, instead of hating. They came to this agreement that they would just avoid each other. They would stay away. Saul stopped hunting David, and David became a free man again. Now, I just want to make a disclaimer. This happens in the story. It happened at a different time. If you are in a place where you feel like you are not safe, you are being hurt, or something like this, please speak out. Get some help. You should love the person, but don't just let it continue to love through it. Get some help. Seek some help. We are here for you. I'm here for you. If you need that, reach out. But yeah, anyways, they came to this agreement. David ended up showing love. It's a pretty amazing thing to do, especially when you're being hunted by someone. Now let's jump to the New Testament. We're going to look at Matthew 5:38 through 45. Jesus obviously was this really cool guy, died for us, great thing he did, amazing thing he did. But he had this way of changing things and doing things differently. Back in the day, that law said an eye for an eye was something you would take. You took what you were given. You took back what someone stole from you. But Jesus came and he spoke differently. He talked about things like turn the other cheek. If someone strikes you on one side, turn the other so they can strike you on that side. And love through it and forgive this person. He also said something that back in that day drove people crazy. Honestly, I think it still drives people crazy to this day because it's just this crazy concept. Jesus calls us to love our enemies. He says to take care of those who we hate, who are against us, who are we against, and show them love. Now here's the thing. Back in the Bible time, some people thought Jesus was crazy, and some people really took what he said to heart. But I can tell you something. He called us to love our neighbors and our enemies. He told us to love those who we hate. This was something David understood. This is something David understood before Jesus even spoke those words, because he understood who our God was. Now, this isn't easy. I'm not saying it is. It is super hard to love your enemies. It is super hard to love those who you hate. But I highly encourage you this week to take some time and reach out to those people who are on your heart that you just struggle with, that you hate, that you dislike, and just show them love. Show them that even though you hate them, there's still love to be had. And if you can do that, I promise you, it'll change your mindset on this person. As you know, we are called to love those we hate. Let's get away from cancel culture of just forgetting about those we hate and just continually hating them. Let's fight it, and let's continue to love those who we hate. Let's go against the normal. Go against what you think is right. And do what's true right. And love those who you hate. I hope you guys all have an amazing week. God bless.